What is up, guys? It's Epiphanies here once again, aka Funny McTow, rousing the haters and finding myself in a state of approval. I'm going to try to make this one a quick little podcast here, or as quick as I can possibly make it with just the way I talk. But anyway, I was approached by a woman as I was at the grocery store, and I was looking for some fresh aloe vera, as I recall it. And even though I was not wearing anywhere near to the employee sort of like dress code or anything, she approached me and asked if I was, working there at the little grocery counter or whatever, or what have you. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here." And I noticed that she was actually quite pretty. She was like about 5 foot nothing. And she was just immaculate face, alabaster skin, hit a lot of the correct beats for me. And then I immediately, very unconsciously for a lot of guys will relate to this, I stared down at her breast. Now, for those of you out there that follow MGTOW channels to sort of, I don't know, act as some sort of watchdogs against MGTOW content and creators, and for the women who might hear this and say, well, it's simple, isn't it? All men are just these, mincing, sex mongers, and we, of course, only look at breasts because we're thinking about sex all day, every day. However, for those of you out there who seek some sort of education or an exchange, at the very least, of ideas, here's my hypothesis. With only as I've observed the behavioral pattern in myself, there is a certain rhythm to it. First, I look up at the face, then I look down at her breasts to see what size they are. And we all know, we've heard time and time again, more aptly heard from Turd Flinging Monkey, that when a man stares at a woman's breast, it's to assess a sign of, vitality, youth, and beauty, to see if, on a, I guess you could say a preternatural level, to assess whether they are of good breeding stock, or if they can bear children, or if they are in the ranges of the prime of their bodies being able to bear children via viewing of the breast. Now, that's all subconscious in a lot of ways, which is why we unconsciously stare at breast, period. Now, for me, this was lightning in a bottle, as I realized that is the reason. I feel like I've cracked a long-standing code that, in many ways, we're not even allowed to, sit down and to analyze this in our own self as men. We're told that no, like any analysis is shut down. It's always summed up to us personally as just that you're a man, and sex is all that you think about. This was later on confirmed when I, went back to the grocery store and I actually began to examine the face beauty to breast ratio of all of the women who commonly work there at any given point when I just happened to be about at the grocery store buying food. Now, as I examined this with a newfound sort of look or a newfound eye, I looked at it and I noticed that there was two women who worked two different departments in the grocery store. One I was always very reluctant to approach because she was ugly to me. But when I thought back about how I felt about the two women, one, I found out, although they were similar in, I guess you could say, ugliness, like I would just list them as threes, being clinical and not being judgmental. Just going off of a quick glance at their faces, they were both threes. But one had bigger breast, and as I had this sort of emotional recall, I noticed that I thought better of the woman with bigger breasts. Now, you can take that out of context, or you can make some sort of judgment and just say that, oh, that's unfair to like the other one because she's ugly and she has smaller breasts, and that's sort of like sexist, whatever you want to say. But trust the assessment as I've examined it, because no one else is saying what I'm saying right now, apart from Turd Fleeing Monkey, that is. So there it is, my MGTOW, my brothers at arms. That is the reason, or I should say, one of the reasons that men stare at breast. It's not because we're sex mongers. It's merely governed by a preternatural instinct. So I hope you guys found this to be informative. Once again, as always, I encourage you to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.